Hi there, it's Joni from Smile and Shrinking, and I'm here today with my surgeon, Dr. Sauceda. Hello, thank you so much for coming and letting us do this.
Thank you for
It's very exciting.
Wonderful. I'm really excited also.
Wonderful.
Well, this is such a great opportunity for us, and we have asked our community to bring forth their questions for you, and we have a lot of questions.
Wonderful. I love questions.
So what we've done, Doctor, is we have broken it into 4 sections.
Okay.
We have pre-op questions, specific questions towards the surgical procedures themselves, surgery and recovery, and post-op generally after going back home.
Okay.
So our first question today comes to us from someone that we've just recently met. Her name is Eager, and she wants to know, what is the BMI that you find provides the best post-op results for a lower body lift or post-bariatric plastic surgery?
Okay, one more time because I couldn't understand fully the question. I'm sorry about that.
What is the BMI that you find provides the best post-op results for a lower body lift or post-bariatric plastic surgery?
I do ask my patients to be under 28, you know. Obviously, everyone is different. Some of them, they have been doing a really hard work trying to lose all that weight. And at some point, I do accept patients over 28. Especially when they have been stuck down, you know, in certain weight, and they cannot get lower anything, but they do have this massive skin hanging all over the places, and I do believe that there's a very good opportunity for them, you know, just to make a push on their journey. So I do ask for them to get lower than 28, but in some cases I do accept someone over 28. Obviously, the closer to your goal, the better result I can achieve on your case, you know. But if you are over 28, well, we need to talk about it, and you need to realize that I cannot deliver the best result possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we got another question from Tammy Take Two, who's having her surgery today.
She's having a DS.
The DS like us.
Yeah.
And she says, what are some things that we can do before a tummy tuck that help with recovery and a successful surgery?
Okay, well, you need to be very healthy. You need to have a very good nutritional environment. I mean, you have to be, your protein level supposed to be in a very good level for this to be a quick recovery or a good recovery after your surgery. You know, it is not the same that you have a very bad diet. You have a very bad diet, you know, and then you go into this kind of surgery. It is not going to end well.
If you're weak, you're not strong. Like,
That's
you would
right.
even ask me to bump up my protein leading into surgery
That's
so that I would be the strongest,
That's
right?
right. And your protein levels tells very good. I mean, if the higher that you have your protein levels, the better on the recovery you are going to take.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Great. And we have a question from Foodie Turn Sleevey.
Love her.
And she's just passed the 1-year mark out from VSG and has lost about 100 pounds. And she'd like to know, what are the expected results if someone has plastics and then loses a little more weight, and then in addition, or gains a little more weight?
Well, that's a very important thing. You know, I ask my patients to be stable for at least 4 months before plastics. Because as you well know, you can still lose weight or gain weight, and that's going to affect the results. If you have like maybe 20 pounds gain or 20 pounds lose after the plastics, that can affect your results. You know, so it is really important for you to be stable for a certain amount of time. And I do ask my patients at least 4 months.
4 months. That sounds great. And then we have a question from Field Sam. She wants to know, how long should a 50-year-old woman wait after reaching her goal weight to have skin removal? Does it matter what age?
No.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
But that kind of goes into that other question where they were asking, is someone too old? I have someone on my channel that is almost 60, and she would like to get a few things done. And I think as long as she's strong and healthy, right?
Yeah, well, actually, the weight loss, it is a tremendous aid for this kind of patient, you know, because obviously I wouldn't do surgery on a patient who has heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, you name it.
Right.
Because there's a way different thing. But your heart has been handled this amount of weight and then you took it off. So for your heart and the rest of your vital system, that's been a major aid, and you already know that because you don't take anymore your high blood pressure medications.
Right.
You don't take anymore your diabetic medication. So this weight loss has been a terrific help for your body. So it is not the same that I do a surgery in a 60-year-old lady with overweight, heart disease, lung disease, or whatever, than in this kind of patient that they are really healthy. So that helped us a lot. That helped me to do more stuff that I'm supposed to.
That makes sense.
That
makes
is
sense.
great. Thank you so much. And I bet that encourages a lot of people.
For sure.
It's Just Me wants to know, how long does the process take from the first consult to the surgery date?
Well, usually it takes something between 3 to 6 months, more or less, But I have every single kind of patient, I have patients who only send me maybe 5 emails from the first email until I do the surgery. And I have patients that can send me maybe 200 emails or even more. I even had once a patient who sent me 150 emails, and she didn't have the surgery with me. Well, I don't mind, They just send me questions and ask me things, and that's totally understandable because they are going to travel to a foreign country. They don't know me in person, so that they want to ask me as many questions, just for them to realize what is the thing that they are getting into. It's totally.
I was gonna say I was so impressed by you because I had heard your name be recommended several times. Then I went and did a bunch of snooping around and was looking at pictures, and then I contacted you after I liked what I saw and after I talked to someone who had been here in person. Not just like somebody on the interweb once said you had done a nice job. And then I wrote to you, and you were so good about writing me back. When I had questions, you came right back with my questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me feel more confident. And then when I met you in person, then it was really, I was like very...
You're blushing me.
No, I really was
but
impressed that you really made me feel at comfort of what we were doing.
Most of my patients, they came only once, there's only one chance of that I have to meet them, and I do understand that it is the first time for them to have plastics, so everyone has some inquiries about it, or they feel unsafe or insecure, or they have many questions. You need to give them time, you need to explain them, you need to try to make them feel comfortable about the things that they are going to do.
Yes, wonderful. Why don't we stop for a minute, and that way if we need to start again, we can, and that way I can edit. And
We're back.
Okay, and we're back. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So we have just a couple more questions for you on the pre-op, and then we'll move on to the next section.
Wonderful. Very good.
Okay.
So Cookie Lou wants to know, is it necessary to fly into Monterey for a consult?
Well, usually I do consultations once a year in the States. And that can change from time to time, but usually I do once a year in Las Vegas, every other year. And then the year in between, we pick up just a location. It is not on a specific location. We have been in San Antonio and Dallas and Orlando, New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, etc.
But that is not how you did your consult. Is that correct, Tony?
Correct. I did mine over the internet. I sent him pictures and asked for his opinion and made sure that I had decent ideas of what I thought I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me what was safe and not safe and
That's
what
right.
you could and couldn't do.
Well, I guess 95 or maybe 96% of my patients, they do those kinds of consultation. They contact me by email, they send me their pictures, and then I told them, well, this is my opinion on your case, this is the thing that you need, or at least my opinion.
Right.
If those match between your needs and my opinion, maybe we can do your surgery.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then they send me tons of questions.
Like me. I did. I
Well,
sent
but
lots of questions.
That's the way that we need to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. We have a question from DG. She says, if I don't speak Spanish, will I be able to find my way in the airport? As in finding customs in the bathroom?
Yeah, of course.
I've noticed that there are a lot of English-speaking folks in the area. Is that correct?
Yes, probably they don't have the best accent, as I do. I mean, I'm just kidding. The terrible accent. Anyway, but they are going to help you there on your way to the airport. Even the airline do speak English. The custom guys, they do speak English. I guess it's not a big deal.
And when I went through I had to declare the money for the surgery, and so that slowed me up just a little bit. But as soon as I walked through the door, there was your driver there to pick me up. So I was not worried at all.
My driver doesn't speak English, but he has a very cute sign with your name on it.
And a note from the doctor.
That's right.
And I knew that was how it was going to be. So everything checked out.
Great, that's great. So we're going to stop it for a second and take a break and get back into our next section. And we're back, and we're going to begin talking about specific surgical procedures and the combinations, doctor, of these surgical procedures. Oh. So Wendy Oliverson says, did other surgeons caution doing all the surgeries at once? Other surgeons want me to do the surgeries in stages. What combinations are possible?
Well, many procedures are possible to combine, but if you grab one of my plastic surgery books, the one that we studied when we were in the residency program, they're going to tell you, you need to do just the tummy tuck and then wait for 6 months, and they do the breast augmentation and then wait for 6 months, and then do the thigh lift and they wait for 6 months, and that's really unpractical. So some of my patients started to ask me, well, what if we do the tummy and the breast? I thought, well, maybe we can do that. And then after some patients that we do that, we're starting to add another procedure, and then add another procedure. And I mean, everything has a limit, but at this point we feel really comfortable because we have done maybe more than 550 of this massive procedure. Massive procedure for me is a procedure who lasts more than 7 to 8 hours. And we do 3 to 4 surgeries at a time. And we can do even more. And right now we feel very comfortable doing that, because we have healthy patients. We don't do surgeries on healed patients or patient who has illness or whatever. We do only on healthy patients. And that brings us a huge opportunity on the things that we can do at what time. So at this particular moment, we can do thigh lift, a circumferential body lift, breast lift plus augmentation, and an arm lift in a single patient in the same day. We have a very tight team that allow us to do all of this. I mean, I don't do it the 100% of that surgery by myself. I have a very tight team. We do this procedure between 2 plastic surgeons. My partner and I, he is a 61-year-old plastic surgeon, top of the line qualifications. Just for you to have an idea, I did start as his assistant, and then we became partners, and that's how we do stuff. So it is like operating one surgeon with 4 hands.
That's so amazing to me.
It is.
So amazing. So very, very much along that line, and I believe you've answered the question, but just to put it out there, Kim Wavecatcher says, is having a tummy tuck with brachial surgery too much to do at one time?
No, and it is something that you need to know, you are not cutting off your entire body during this procedure. We do the procedure in stages, meaning let's pretend that we are going to do the tummy tuck and the arm lift at the same time. Well, then we start with the tummy tuck, and after we finish with the tummy tuck, the anesthesiologist and I make an evaluation on your case, and if we believe that we can continue with the next stage, we do so. If the anesthesiologist believes, this is just too much for her, the vital signs are not stable, we need to stop the surgery, then we stop the surgery. I mean, we do stop the surgery before we hear that something is bad with your health.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So we have a question from a dear friend of ours, C. Jane Shrink, And she wants to know, did you have any lipo done in your Mons area? And is there a lot of tension between your thigh incision and your tummy? I see some pretty mixed responses to having those done at the same time, and I'm wondering if what Dr. Sauceda's opinion is on its safety.
Well, the pubic area, they didn't grow in just one direction. It is like a balloon, at what point was like a balloon and then that balloon get deflated.
The chubby bunny.
Yes.
Instead.
So at some point with the tummy tuck, I am able just to pull it in one direction. I mean, pull it up. Some cases I needed to put it in different direction, but I cannot combine that with the tummy tuck. With the tummy tuck, it's only going to be pull it up. And at some point I can take some fat manually without the liposuction. I mean, below that incision, I go deep into that fat and take that fat out, just to reduce the volume in that area. And then I needed to put some stitches between that fat to the muscle layer for that pubic area don't hang after the surgery.
Looks way better.
So that's how we do this. Now, in some particular cases, ladies has lost a huge amount of weight, and they need more than one procedure in that area. So I needed to cut the neck strip on the sides just to try to pull it to try to look at better or normal.
Yes.
Okay, finally, in our section on surgical procedures, we're going to go to the neck.
Yes.
The question is, what procedures would Dr. Sauceda recommend for a waddle or a turkey neck? And that's not just coming from Field Sam and Imperfect Perfection. That's coming from me also, Dr.
Okay,
Sauceda.
very good. Well, the thing that has happened on weight loss necks and faces, it is that they did have also fat in that area. And when you get weight loss, obviously you lost that fat also. So it makes you look a lot older than you are actually. So the procedure that we have for that particular area is a neck lift and a facelift. And we do it that way, So the facelift that we do, it is the most simple and less complicated facelift. Why? Because I do believe that the simple is the better. There are some other plastic surgeons that they want to do more stuff. They want to go very deep. They want to do. It is obvious. When you are working, you want to add something to your work. To make it special or something. But when you go very deep, you can end up having nerve damage, and those nerve damage can be permanent.
Right. I think I've seen a lot of the faces. I did not have any face work done, although chubby really is a good wrinkle filler upper. But your faces are beautiful because they look so natural. And I like that. You don't look at someone and go, oh, they've obviously had work done. They look beautiful, just like they did maybe 10 years ago and maybe 50 pounds ago.
You can always, I tell my patients, I can always cut a little bit more, but I cannot put it back. So when I'm trying to pull the face, I'm trying to put just gentle that face, just for me to realize, oh, this is a good result. Obviously, I can pull more, but there is a very thin line between a good result and a total catastrophe.
Yeah.
And once that you have the catastrophe, it's really hard to fix. In some cases, it is unfixable.
Yeah, I think you do wonderful work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your great answers, and we're going to go from pre-op and surgical procedures right into surgery. So we have a question, and I think this is the key question that everyone is dying to hear the answer to.
Okay.
And it goes from new Sarah says, I would love to hear the benefits of twilight anesthesia. I hadn't heard of it before Joni, and I'm seeing how amazing she feels and is recovering. Is this why? Can you give me the pros and cons and how it works?
Well, it is not the twilight sedation that makes the anesthesia. It is a combination between an epidural blockade, that's the anesthesia, that is going to make the anesthesia for your body. But we need to keep you calm and asleep during the procedure. So that's why we use the sedation. So that combination, by the way, during the procedure, you are breathing by yourself. You only have an oxygen mask, but you are breathing by yourself. So that combination allows us to keep you under for a very long time. If I wanted to do the same thing with general anesthesia, probably after we finish with your surgery, I need for you to take you to the intensive care unit just for one day, because all that hours of surgery under, all that time with a machine breathing for you. So we need to keep you in the intensive care unit for at least one day. With this combination of anesthesia, we can skip that because you have been breathing by yourself the entire time. But anyway, not every single case allow us to put this kind of anesthesia. Some of the cases we need to switch to a general anesthesia, and we need to shorten the time of the procedure. I mean, with the general anesthesia, I couldn't do Johnny's surgery everything.
You couldn't have.
No.
No, wouldn't be safe.
How long was your surgery, Joni?
13 hours.
And a half.
13 and a half
13 and a
hours.
half.
I know, I was tough. You
Easy
did great.
for you to say.
Well, all I know is I went to sleep and then I woke up and looked over at cute little arms. I was like,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So wonderful. We have a question from Lisa Pickens, 69. How would you manage pain control for someone who has pain medication allergies to all medications she has tried? The reactions are dizziness, vomiting, and nausea, and migraines.
Well, that we shouldn't ask the anesthesiologist. But anyway, we try to, during this surgery, something important it is that the stronger the medication, the stronger the side effect. And I know many people back in the States, they love to use narcotics. I mean, they give to the patients narcotics as a tic-tac, You have a pain, there you go, some narcotics. And the more narcotics that you take, the more tolerance are you making for that specific medication. So when that you actually need it, like in this kind of procedures, we need to use a ton more of those medication, way more medication than on a regular patient. Just for you to have an idea, on Mexican patients, we use maybe 1/3 of the medication that we use on my American patients. That's how that disproportional it is. For instance, on me, I did have a very quick procedure, and my wife told me you are a very cheap cheap patient, because she only needs to put on myself a very tiny dose. But on my American patients, we have used maybe 3 to 4 times the dose that we use on Mexican patients.
Well, I'm glad because I didn't have any pain and I'm a big wuss. So.
and
But-
everyone is different,
Okay.
But let's pretend that we need to use tons of medication on your case. Then you need to stay in the clinic until we can manage your pain without the narcotics.
Okay.
Then I can drive you back to the hotel.
Right.
Otherwise, you guys have heard horrible stories, and I have heard also those kind of stories. So I am really afraid to put the patient in the hotel with tons of narcotics, and I don't know them. I only know them, the thing that they told me, but I don't know how their orientation are going to be. Probably they are going to take too much narcotics, and I'm not going to be able to handle that patient without me knowing that.
Right.
Meaning probably they are going to take tons, and they are going to die after. I mean, you can die because taking too much narcotics.
Sure.
So until we can handle your pain with a regular medication, then we can move you to the hotel.
That sounds excellent. We have a question from Igor. Do patients have to have blood thinner injections after surgery, and if so, for how long?
Well, during on the internet and on the plastic surgery magazine, you have tons of information, and you don't know which is the best information and which isn't. For instance, blood thinners. There is a huge talking about the blood thinners maybe 10 years ago. And we were really afraid about deep vein thrombosis. So we started to use those blood thinners. So just for you to know, during a whole month, my partner and I were putting these injections on patients because we thought that was the best approach. So we used them for a whole month on 10 patients. From all of them, we did have 3 of them of those patients starting to bleed after the surgery. So we stopped using those because obviously the rate, which was 30% of bleeding post-op, was too high for us to continue using those blood thinners. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a good medication. It just doesn't apply in this kind of procedure.
Okay, so that leads into this really good question from Field Sam. She says, I had issues with blood clots after my DS surgery. Do I still need to worry about that now that I'm no longer obese?
Yes. Yeah, you still need to.
So it's because she has a history of it.
Yes. Every single patient that has history of blood clots, we need to continue using those blood thinners, but they need to know there is a possibility that you are going to bleed after your surgery. And probably your procedure is not going to be as long or as extensive or massive as the rest of the patients. We need to be more
Good
cautious in your particular case.
That's excellent.
That's excellent. Okay, we are going to take a break.
Okay, you guys, we're gonna do our final segment. It's gonna be on post-op care, and who had the first question?
Our first question comes from Eager, and she says, do you remove drains before patients go home? If not, can a patient stay in Mexico under your care until the drains are ready to come out?
Yes, well, we remove the drains until the drain are able to be removed, meaning that depends on the drain output. If it is totally pointless if I remove the drain if the drain is not ready to come out, so we ask for a specific number, a specific output for us to take it out. If you reach that number during your stay here in Mexico, we are going to be happy to take it out for you. But not in every single case happened that way, So some cases they do come back home with 1 or 2 drains, So the hard decision is to know when to take that out, and for that decision you have me. I mean, you can send me your output every other day. You can tell me, hey doctor, my output has been this much in 24 hours, and then I'm going to tell you, Johnny, this is a very good output for you. You can take the drain out.
And leading into that question, taking that answer and leading into a question from Heather Alexander, she says, how do I take them out?
Well, during your stay here, you are going to realize that Patty is going to take some of them out.
Patty,
And
she's so wonderful.
She can teach you how. It is not a very difficult thing to take out. One more time, the difficult thing is to know when to take them out. Now, returning to your last question, you told me if they can stay here for the entire time. They can do that. I mean, we don't mind to have you 4 weeks or whatever it takes. But that reminds me something. A former patient of mine asked me the same question. I want to stay there until all of the drains are going to come out. And I have the whole month. And even though I told him, I cannot guarantee you that we can take those drains out after the whole month, because I'm not going to rush a decision. If we can take them out, we are going to do that. Otherwise, they are going to stay there. So he gave it a shot, and he just asked me, well, what was the longest drain that has been there? And I told him, well, it was a month, 4 weeks. So he did stay here for 4 weeks, and right now he's the longest drain act.
Oh, of course it is.
he did have the drain for 6 weeks.
Oh,
Bad luck.
sorry.
But one more time, I cannot promise you something that I am not able to deliver.
Right. Well, and you don't want to pull it early and end up with a seroma or other.
You hire me to make the right decision. Not to be polite or not to be the decision that you want.
Right. Good.
So Cookie Lou then wants to know, will Dr. Sauceda take out all of your stitches before you leave Mexico?
Well, there is a window period in which we can take the stitches out, which is just before the day you come back home until 21 days after your surgery. If we believe that we can take those stitches out, we are going to do that. And usually Patty does that. She's a lot more gentle than I. Well, anyway, if she believes that she can take those stitches out, she's going to do that. Otherwise, you need to wait until 21 days after your surgery.
Okay. Living Like Jody who's an RN, asks us, who will care for you here in the U.S.? Does doctor stay in contact afterwards? I'm assuming so. Are his follow-ups on FaceTime or online?
Well, usually my patients stay in contact with me by email, because I cannot do FaceTime every single day. I have surgeries, but I can answer every single of your emails. So once you're back home, you can send me as many questions as you want, and I will answer all of them. So we do have that kind of follow-up. You send me your questions and I do answer. If we believe that we need to do something different, you can do one of two things. You can go to your local doctor and ask him for help if something happens. Otherwise, you can always come back here and I can take care of you.
Excellent. That's excellent. These questions about post-care lead into kind of a sensitive issue that we've had come up, and we wanted to address it this way. Victoria Johnson wants to know, what are some ways or things we can say to our family and physicians who may have concerns about us traveling to Mexico for plastic surgery?
Well, don't tell them that you are traveling to Mexico. Tell them that you are traveling to a specific doctor. I mean, it is going to be the same stuff if you live in Los Angeles and let's pretend that you find your doctor that you're feeling comfortable with, but he lives in North Dakota or Baltimore or whatever. You're still going to travel,
Right.
And you're still going to do this medical tourism business. So it is the same stuff. I mean, obviously you need to do your homework. I mean, you need to search about your doctor. You need to search about the procedures that you are going to have. You need to talk to the people that have been doing the same stuff as you. And once you are feeling comfortable and with your doctor and everything, then it is not a bad thing for you to travel. But it is the same thing that a lady from Florida that has a doctor that she felt comfortable with, but this doctor lives in Seattle. Exactly the same thing. I mean, don't search for the country, search for the doctor. If you feel that your doctors make you feel comfortable, go there.
That's excellent.
That's great advice. Great advice.
See, one of the things I said to my doctor, who was like, "You're going to Mexico?" I said, "Yeah, I am." And I told him, I said, "You specialize in people like me."
Exactly.
Who have lost a lot of weight. Because I mean, all of our skin is different.
Yes.
Right? And I have had an amazing result. I have. They've seen my pictures. They know. And but you have said that's not always typical. Every single body will react differently. But most doctors are afraid of people with skin like me. They are. They're afraid to tackle what I was a mess. Y'all saw.
Well, weight loss are really difficult patients to deal with. And obviously, most of the plastic surgeons, they don't want to deal with this kind of patient. They are really tough. And some of them, they are expecting a really high result. So in order for me to deliver a good result, I need to get good materials to work with, So if your body has large amount of damage for the weight gain and weight loss, obviously it is not the best material for me to deliver.
Absolutely. It was a mess.
But anyway, yeah, and you need to love this work to do this kind of things, because it is not an easy thing. Most of my surgery lasts 10 to 12 hours. So there's no kids, no family during that time, so not every one of them, they want to deal with this kind of patients.
What is it you said when you're in surgery and you're doing your thing? It's like playing.
It was like playing, the Nintendo PlayStation for your teenage.
Right.
You can still be there for 10 hours straight and it doesn't mind. I mean, it is my work and I love the thing that I do. Obviously, the rest of the thing that I just tell me, just finish right now. No, let's try to do this and that. Probably this is going to make things
that's
better.
what he did with you, Joni. That's why it turned out as good as he did.
Well, I'm still playing. I'm still learning, and one more time, I do love my job.
It shows.
We have a couple last questions here from Courtney Losing in Texas. How long should someone plan to take it easy or restrict activities post-op?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
It's really important, because the stitches that you are going to have in your body, those are reabsorbable stitches, and they are losing straight as every single day pass. The ironic of this point it is that your health or your energy level is gaining up. So you're trying to do more stuff, but then your stitches are getting lower and straight, but you want to do more. And my dangerous spot is the 3 weeks period of time. Why? Because your stitches have only 50% straight, but your energy level is so good and you want to do more. My worst enemy is that my patients starting to feeling really good. So they want to do more stuff and they have open wounds.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So finally, we have a question from Dara Mandeville. And she says, do you suggest following up with a doctor once home, a general physician or a plastic surgeon?
Well, you have already a plastic surgeon, which is me. And you can contact me tons of times. I don't mind. Most of the cases with that follow-up is good enough. Some cases we need an aid for a general doctor, like maybe some antibiotic, some painkiller or whatever. But most of the cases, that's it. You don't need anything else.
Dr. Sauceda, how would someone get in contact with you if they wanted to follow up with
my email address? They can send me their questions or their pictures for me to make an evaluation. It's Dr. Sauceda at gmail.com.
Wonderful.
And your website?
It is www.medicaltourist.com.mx.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Just thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. But we're going to wrap up, you guys. I'm going to still film a little short video for this day, but this one I want to get uploaded right away. So thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.